I recently saw the latest Tarantino film, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Ooh, his ninth.
Yes, according to his math.
Somehow?
Yes. So the basic plot of this, it follows our two main stars of the movie, Leonardo DiCaprio and Brad Pitt. It takes place in the 1960s in Hollywood, hence the title Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. It follows the first character is Leonardo DiCaprio. He is a aging actor.
Yep.
He's kind of come to the realization that maybe he's a washed-up has-been. He's not getting as many, lead hero cowboy roles as he used to. He's getting passed up for big movies like The Great Escape, for example. And some of the outcomes of that is it's also caused a hardship on his long-term working partner, Brad Pitt's character, who is
plays his stunt double.
His stunt double, that's correct. Yeah. And because he's not getting as much action work, not getting as much work in general, that leaves Brad Pitt to kind of meander about Hollywood. Whether that's on farms on the outskirt of town or just driving around the Hollywood Hills. A lot of it is just him just kind of hanging around. It also weaves together some other characters. You have Margot Robbie playing Sharon Tate. If you know anything about the history of Sharon Tate or Hollywood in the 60s, you know it's an interesting time to focus on her. And this movie knows that that's an interest.
I think it's really fascinating how, if you would have watched the trailers and not known who Sharon Tate is, you may not know what this movie is going to be.
Yes.
Because there are some people who I knew who saw the trailers and had no idea what it was going to cover off on.
Right. And it's not entirely about the Sharon Tate story. And I think that's to a good effect. This film, like many late Tarantino films, could use a little bit of work on editing. I don't necessarily think that means the piece as a whole is bad. But after his long-term editor died a few movies back, you've definitely seen a shift in how they're really edited. Lots of fat that can be trimmed. I don't necessarily think that it's always a bad thing to have some extra fat, especially on something that is following a meandering stunt double that hasn't had real stunt work in a while, because you can kind of really flesh out a character. It's okay to have a bit of fluff there.
I think in Tarantino's later years, he's really just said, you know what, this is going to be a 3-hour movie. I'm going to sit this camera right here, and you're just going to watch these characters talk for 10 minutes.
Absolutely, and that's not always a bad time.
No, it's awesome. I love it.
My general thoughts on this movie, I really liked it. I am a pretty big fan of late Tarantino. I really liked Hateful Eight. Django had some parts that I wasn't a huge fan of, but overall was still enjoyable. Inglourious Bastards was also fantastic.
It's the best. It's just the best. Let's be honest about it.
So, some things I really liked about this movie. I think I will like it more on a second viewing. You've watched this multiple times, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, because I just absolutely love hanging out with these characters.
Yes. Brad Pitt especially is fantastic in this. Not to say that Leonardo DiCaprio is not, on top of his game and really giving it his all. He is. But Brad Pitt hasn't really had a role that he's really gotten to sink his teeth in for a little bit. At least not in the past few years, whereas DiCaprio has had, especially within the last 5-6 years, a lot of really, really great roles. So it was nice to see Brad Pitt kind of do something fantastic, and it really plays to where he is at right now as an actor as well. This isn't something that a young Brad Pitt would be capable of doing. And I think this kind of plays well into having older stars that have been around the block for a little bit and really know what they're doing. And I think both of them kind of fit their roles really well. Even when you know that, oh, hey, this is the actor that's playing them. Some of the stuff with the Manson side of things and how it kind of weaves in and out at certain points throughout the movie. Some worked way better than others. I think that the group as a whole had a kind of lingering effect, but I think they played it smart. There really wasn't much of there's not much of Charlie Manson himself, and I think that's a good choice. It really lets some of the other things shine in it. I really liked it. It definitely has some fluff it could have been cut out. Yeah, so that's my basic thoughts. I thought it was really good. I really enjoyed it, but I'm also a huge fan of late Tarantino. So if you're not as big of a fan of that, you might not like it as much. I think it'll be hit or miss for some people. I know some people will really love it, and I can also see some people just thinking it's, like, awful. But I loved it. I had a great time with it.
I also saw it. I loved it as well. I think it's my top 5 right now. And I'm kind of leaning back and forth between the exclusion of, like, more Manson or more family stuff, or even more, potential for consequences in this world.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like it's kind of lacking, because, like, if you look at, like, what I think is peak Tarantino, Inglourious Basterds, like, you have those scenes of tension where it's, like, slowly building to what you know is going to be this explosion of something. Right. And I feel like in this movie, there's a certain scene that alludes to that same sense, and then it just kind of cops out to be a joke.
I can kind of get what you're saying. I think that would be more of like a spoiler discussion to really delve into all of what that means for it. However, David, you've seen this movie more than once, right?
Yep.
Okay. What's our rule of first impressions? You can only see it the one time.
Hey, Ethan, can you give me a hand with this?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
I got a few options in front of me.
Yeah, so, okay, looking at this, you got a box that will give you more of the weekly mini episodes. That's a pretty good pick.
But then over here, I got clips from the monthly show.
Ah, rats. Maybe if you just hit the circle in the middle and you subscribe and then you get both of them forever, for free. Cool.